So, all I want to talk about today is a big one, the meaning of life. So, I've thought a lot about this, like what what's the point to all this? Like why? And actually that's one of the things that you can feel a lot if you get really like down, if you get really depressed for any aspect of your life. Um, and it can become like kind of pointless. Doesn't matter if you're like rich and flying high and there's just no people around you who love you, or like you're poor and or you're like drinking, or you're on medication, or you've something really bad's happened to you. A lot of the time the first thing that you start asking yourself is I, like what's the point to all this? And I think it's because you start feeling that things are kind of meaningless. So like you try to find meaning, right? And you try to be like, okay, what? And I think we find meaning in a lot of the things that we do, like making these videos is meaningful to me. Talking to people is meaningful to me. Traveling is meaningful to me. Uh, Studying, definitely meaningful to me. Knowledge, but but those are like, yeah, it makes me feel good to do those things. But so does a cold shower on a hot day, or like jumping into a swimming pool, that feels good too. But like what's really the meaning? Like why do we do this? Why do we have to feel good? Like why do I have to just live and feel good? Why do I have to live and just consume things and feel good? Like what's the point? What's the deeper point? What's the meaning of the reason why I like them? Well, I've thought a long time about this, and I think that there's only one answer that I can come up to, uh, and that's love. I think love is the meaning of life. Like, if you love things, then that's it. That's all that you need to do. I mean, think about it. There's two types of like matter in the universe, right? I mean, everything is comprised of atoms, and they're all the atoms of the periodic table, and all these, light elements and heavy elements. And like you, inside you have the same atoms that one day might have been, like billions of years ago, might have been inside of a star or inside of a rock. But what's the difference? What's the difference between a star and a rock and a human being and a possum and a dog and like a piece of shingle on a house or a tree? What's the difference between these things? One of them is definitely alive and the other one isn't. And by alive, that's a whole nother video. Like, what does it mean to be alive? I would love to do that video. I can't wait already to do that. But besides that, um, to me, simply, what I mean right now for the purposes of this video, to be alive means the fact that you're free to move. So think about a rock. A rock doesn't move. Whatever the environment does to it, it does. So if you know forces like magma come, or like wind can erode it, or even push it over, that's happened before. Um, Water can erode it, break it down into another. A human being might come, an animal might come, might move it, might carry it. Think about all matter. It's just inanimate. It sits there. While life, things that are alive are animate. They can move. Even little ants, even possums, even human beings, uh, they all move from place to place. And I think that when you love things, then you can use the power of motion, to this great power, right, that you have, um, to do good, to do good things, to do things that um, make m- all of these other things that can't move in a better state, to leave them in a better state than you could before. I think love is what drives life, and love can come in many different forms, and I think it's something that's very fundamentally, human. And we as humans have the capability of loving anything. Like you can love a rock, you truly can. And I've met some people. The people that really truly are in love, like they deeply in the bottom of their soul or heart, like experience love for some rock somewhere. Um, you can love a tree. You can love like the earth. You can love each other. You can love your parents. You can love another person. But only when you love, I feel like you can live completely. You can feel complete. Because love is something that will push you to your absolute limits. Love is something for which you would be willing to die. True love. And I think that, sadly, the way we live our lives and the way the economic system works, the global economic system works, is in a way that suppresses this innate ability for humans to love. Um, I don't think it's intentional, but I do think that it happens. Because when you're always in a rush, when you're always looking at results, when you're always saying like, oh my God, I gotta be better than this other guy and that other girl, so that I can, climb and make sure I have more to eat than they do. When you're constantly in a competition, you don't have time to develop love for anything. And when you're constantly doing things that other people are telling you to do, like study or do the things that you need to do in your job, you just forget. You just become so busy with everything that you forget to just develop from a little kid to develop the capacity to love things. And you know what's the funniest thing? That people who are capable of loving and deeply all kinds of things, rocks, trees, other people, just loving them from the bottom of their heart. A summer night like this, I personally love this. The leaves are rustling. That's like one of my favorite sounds. I'm completely like in love. I could die happy right now. Like absolutely. In this moment, I don't need anything else at all. But the funny thing is that I was saying before, that when you have love, and this is the irony of it all, that's when you can compete even better. Because when you compete from a place of love, when you fight for love, when you fight to preserve your capability to be free on a night like this, for instance, then you compete much more effectively. And then you're a real champion. The funny thing about competition is that when you compete, things are so close sometimes. Two people might be like neck and neck. They might have the same strength. They might have the same strategy. They might have the same reflexes. But the person who plunges that metaphorical sword into the other one's ribs without dying themselves is the person who wants to win more. And let me tell you one truth about life. You never want to win as badly as you do when you're fighting from a position of true love.